all know a guy who only occasionally shaves for big occasions, and it's because that occasional shave really hurts. It's the time of year for big occasions, and yet there he is, suffering with that cheap drugstore razor. Let's help him out. Henson Shaving's line of razors, built with aerospace precision, deliver a smooth shave your dad, brother, and even son can enjoy, eventually. With replacement blades just 10 cents each, you'll buy it once and they'll use it for life. How's that for the perfect gift? Celebrate with 100 free blades on your first purchase, and no subscription headaches. HensonShaving.com/holiday.
Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist-recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.
Welcome to the No Fruit Podcast,
where we talk about our life experiences with a spiritual twist. Hosted by Maurice
and Kafa. We hope you enjoy today's episode. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, everybody. Hope that you're having a wonderful day. Hope that all is well with you. So we're here today. We're going to talk a little bit more about destiny and our friend Ruth. No, we talked about Ruth already. Now we're talking about Rachel. Miss Rachel or Raquel or, Rachel. Rara. Mm-hmm. Miss Rara. Mm-hmm. And just what she meant to others, what her story was about, and what she means to us. Mm-hmm. So, Reese, tell us a little bit about this lady.
She was the younger sister of Leah.
Or Leah.
And her suitor was looking to marry her, but she was switched out for the older sister. And the young man who wanted to marry her, he ended up waiting for her, but he did have to serve what I would say time in order to get her. So that's the story in a short form. Now, did a whole lot more go on? Certainly it did. But first of all, I guess the question is, why wasn't she allowed to marry first? Why is that, Kyle?
I don't know. You tell me. Why was she not? I mean, she was a younger one. Mm-hmm. So in some cultures, the older sibling had to be married first. Uh-huh. So that's my answer.
I mean, I think what it is that Leah, depending on what commentary you read, says that she was prettier. Leah had soft eyes or something along those lines, but Rachel was a little prettier and more attractive, pretty much overall. So, and so Jacob had already worked prior to, and the suitor's name was Jacob, and he had already worked to get Rachel. And then on the wedding night, when he pulls back the veil, who does he see but Leah? So, so the father, I take it that, as you stated, in that culture, whatever culture it might have been, you marry off the oldest one first. But the key is that Rachel had to have really liked this gentleman. I mean, first of all, I would take it if I had to sit in Rachel's seat, because I understood the culture. I knew that, hey, Leah had to go first and not me, so forth and so on, but what did that say about Rachel? In order for her to be patient enough to wait another 7 years to get married to Jacob.
Right. I mean, so the story goes that they met at the well. He went back to his mother's tribe and was looking for a wife, which, the Bible just baffles me with everybody intermarrying. But so he went back to his family to find a wife. So lo and behold, while he was there, he found Rachel there, and he fell in love with her as soon as he saw her. So he knew that she was the one. And I'm sure they made eye contact, and he did some friendly things of watering and whatnot, flirting at the well, if you will. So then he went back, as Maurice is saying, and went back to the dad and was like, hey, I really am interested in marrying your daughter. Now, again, did he make, I don't know if they exchanged names, things like that, just to say, hey, marry your daughter. So maybe daddy assumed that you meant my oldest, because that's just how our culture is. He recognized him as kin, and he accepted him into the family and said, yeah, fine. But you have to work, as Maurice was saying. So he worked for the 7 years, and then at the wedding, lo and behold, there was Leah, not Rachel. So he went back to him and said, yo, what happened? I wanted to marry Leah. And they explained that, hey, you have to marry the oldest. Fine, not a problem. I'll take her. I got you. And then they made out a deal to work an additional 7 years. And then you can have Leah. Rachel, I'm sorry. So that's kind of what happened. But, I think I wonder, and I'll ask you, Maurice, like, what was going through? I mean, of course, there was culture. Was dad scheming? Like, hey, this is some free labor. Like, you really, I can tell in your eyes that you really, really want her. So you have to pay. And again, in that culture, with most weddings, the groomsmen had to pay for a woman. Whether it was animals, whether it was cloth and clothing, whether it was jewelry, they had to present something to the family for them to take on this woman as wife. So I guess he didn't come with anything, or maybe what he came with, daddy didn't want, was just like, look, you can work for me for 7 years. And 7 was one of those magical numbers back then, and still is today. But I just wonder how everybody felt. Like, Leia didn't even meet him, and now it's like, well, hey, little girl, by the way, you get ready to marry this guy. So how does she feel? Did she have another suitor? Was she intending for someone else? And then how did Rachel feel? Because she had fallen in love with him, love at first sight at the well, and now it's like, oh no, my sister gonna marry him? Like, what's that about? So did she have issues, daddy issues, if you will? I'm just wondering, what do you think, Reese?
I mean, I think that the direction you're coming from is a true Western civilization mentality, that you have a choice. You do not have a choice in certain cultures like that. So, would I say he was scheming? I wouldn't say he was scheming necessarily. I mean, he could have, but I think that we get too caught up in having a choice in Western civilization, because in those other cultures, no, there is a pecking order in certain situations, and there are certain monetary gifts, if you will, 2 lambs, 2 goats, whatever the situation is, as you mentioned. So no, I don't think it was a scheme. I just think that no, you're going to take whatever I give you, point blank. Mm-hmm. And whether or not Jacob knew about Leah or not is one thing. But Jacob knew who he wanted. I think you had mentioned before, you wasn't sure whether or not he had approached the father about not knowing. Well, I'm sorry, he approached the father, not really giving the name of the daughter or whatever else. I mean, I don't think that happened. I think he knew exactly what the situation was. And the father was like, no, you got to take the oldest, you know. So I don't think that there was an option, or there was given an option. Now, I mean, I've never read anything as far as in commentary or anything like that. You know, this is pure opinion that speaks towards that. Commentary, study, and whatever it might have been. I have not come across anything along those lines, but I think it's purely cultural, and this is what needs to happen. Right. Now, I think that Jacob being an upright, you know, man, and not just saying, "Oh well, I got the other one, I'm gonna keep it moving," you know. But I really want to go to, you know, where my heart is. So, how long are you willing to wait for your heart? You know, and that goes for both Jacob and Rachel. Now, you know, Rachel did have other situations or issues down the line, being, you know, Jacob eventually getting to both having children with both Leah and Rachel's. I can't remember what they were called.
Handmaids.
Handmaidens, which somewhere I read said they were their cousins. You know, so. You know, so interesting enough, Jacob really, he had the whole family to be, you know, to some degree. So
the way that the story unfolds later on is that, you know, Leah's married, and then Rachel comes along later. And as a woman, you want to bless your husband with a male child, with children. The more you have, the better off you are, the more favorable you are. It shows that God has favor on you, all of these things, again, with the culture. So Leah was able to lay with her husband and have a child. She wasn't the favorite wife. Rachel was, so Rachel was able to spend more time with him. However, Rachel was not able to conceive. Her womb was closed. She was having fertility issues, things like that. So the fact that her sister was able to have a child kind of stirred up some emotions within her. And what she decided to do was to offer her handmaiden on her behalf to say, this is how I can build up my name with my husband. So did that. And then Rachel still wasn't able to have children. Then Leah went back and did the same thing, offered up her handmaiden to have children with him. So they went back and forth that kind of a way. And the story goes on that Leah's son found some flowers or some herbs or something like that. And the herbs were supposed to help with fertility. So Rachel went to Leah and said, hey, you know, why don't we do a little switcheroo? Like, hey, you offer me the flowers or the herb, and you get to have an extra time with our husband. Since I'm the favorite, I usually spend the most time with him. I'll give you a couple of my nights with him. So they laid together, and then Leah and her hubby had more kids. And then Rachel had the herb and then was able to use that to open her womb, and then was able to then have 2 sons, as well as I think the handmaidens continued to have kids as well, because there's a total of 12 all from them.
Say again?
They had 12 kids. I mean,
he had 12.
He had 12 between all of them.
Yeah.
The 4 of them, I guess, maybe everybody had. Well, no, because it
wasn't even.
It wasn't even, yeah. No. So they had 12
because Rachel only had 2.
2, right? She had Benjamin and Joseph. So, or Joseph and Benjamin, however they came in. But so the story continues to unfold where there is still some bitterness between the 2 sisters. There's competition there with having children and being the favorite of the hubby, and like I said, it's just different for us as Westerners, Maurice, to kind of absorb all of that in reference to one, like I said, hey, going to find a wife with your mother's family, to taking multiple wives, to sleeping with and having children with their hand servants, their helpers, whether they're family members, as Marie is saying, or even just strangers. Like, it's just a little different, but just the underlying part of the jealousy or whatnot of the back and forth. I mean, and the story even goes on that the two girls go to approach the dad and say, like, hey, this is just not all that we thought it was going to be. And Rachel steals some things from the dad, and then winds up, dying when she's having Benjamin. So, where does all of this go? I mean, a lot of it is being patient and waiting for things, because Rachel did have to wait for children. But she schemed, do we say she schemed to get those by making an arrangement with her sister? And again, Maurice is saying culturally, no, that's just the way they may have done things. So, Maurice, tell me a little bit what you're thinking and what you're...
I mean, right now, I think that, we're talking about Western ideas and ideals and ideologies, things like that, polygamy may not be practiced here on this side, which I think that, people may have one wife, but they have, other situations going on. And that's been throughout the
since
time,
biblical
pretty
times,
much,
right?
right?
Right. That's what we're saying.
So, and I think that, even though we're kind of, I think we need to express a little bit more about the destiny of Rachel, since that's the one that we're talking about. Because in Rachel, I think she ended up being blessed regardless of the stealing piece and or she she dying, while having Benjamin, or all the other things that Rachel may have had. She ended up becoming what? The mother of whom, and what was his destiny with his coat of many colors, along with what line ended up being for that group of people. Mm-hmm. So if you know what I'm talking about, be sure to share it, or you understand what I'm talking about, be sure to share. If you don't, ask the question on any of our social media platforms, and we'll be happy to talk about a little bit more. But I think that Rachel's destiny, regardless of whatever the situation might have been, her ups and downs, her highs and lows, and her struggle to become great, of being the mother of whom, yes, Jacob has fathered the 12 tribes, but there is one that became a little more of a royal, to say the least, a royal lineage, a royal bloodline. So that's why I think about this whole thing with Destiny and Rachel and Jacob, and what's been going on with this whole process, because she had a rough life, and her father, doing what he needed to do culturally, I believe. Now, let's say on the flip side, he did trick Jacob, knowing that, hey, I could get 14 years of work out of him because I could see what type of worker he is, and I don't really want to lose him because of what he means, right? And we don't know who Jacob, when you think of from a network perspective, we don't know who he might have been connected to, so forth and so on. I mean, we know who his lineage is, but otherwise, who else was he connected to? So, sometimes you just wonder, what can I get? And then Leah and Rachel's father, I can't remember his background, Laban's background. I'm drawing a blank. But I think that, if I can get 14 years out of this strong man working, so forth and so on, he's hustling, he's dedicated, he's committed to marrying this one daughter, and he's shown it by working 14 years. How much did I give? If you're thinking of the scheming piece, how much money did he make off of Jacob overall? And then you wonder how blessed he was afterwards, to be honest. So I think that there's some keys that we need to pay attention to, being patient, being committed, and understanding that even though we don't know what our true destiny is, sometimes is laid out for us in a way that, through our hurt, our pain, our sadness, our joys, things like that, is a lot greater in the end. We may not see it up front. We may not live to see it or tell it, but, our destiny is greater than what we've been through.
Amen. Amen.
So, anything you want to add to that, Kyle?
No, everybody just comment, share, like, subscribe, do what you got to do, but let us know that you're listening. So stay fit, everybody. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we look forward to talking with you all real soon.
All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later.
God bless you.
Peace.
We all know a guy who only occasionally shaves for big occasions, and it's because that occasional shave really hurts. It's the time of year for big occasions, and yet there he is, suffering with that cheap drugstore razor. Let's help him out. Henson Shaving's line of razors, built with aerospace precision, deliver a smooth shave your dad, brother, and even son can enjoy, eventually. With replacement blades just 10 cents each, you'll buy it once, and they'll use it for life. How's that for the perfect gift? Celebrate with 100 free blades on your first purchase, and no subscription headaches. HensonShaving.com/holiday.
Don't forget that your skin is your largest organ, and the sun can be your skin's worst enemy. Dermatologist recommended Neutrogena products offer the ultimate protection for your skin. From makeup remover wipes to Hydro Boost Water Gel Facial Moisturizer, BJ's has your entire lineup of Neutrogena skincare products. And now through December 3rd, save $4 on any Neutrogena product at BJ's. Love your skin back and save now through December 3rd, only at BJ's.